Level 1, the browser. You download Tor. It takes 3 minutes. The icon sits on your desktop next to Chrome and Spotify. You click it. The browser opens. It looks exactly like Firefox, except the onion logo in the corner reminds you this isn't the internet you grew up with. You're not here to buy drugs. You're not here for stolen credit cards. You heard about something else, something darker. You type the URL you found on Reddit into the address bar, a forum. The page loads slowly, white text on black background, categories down the left side, drugs, documents, weapons, services. You click services, subcategories appear, hacking, identity theft, and there, fourth from the top, contract services. Your heart rate picks up. You're just looking, just curious. That's what you tell yourself. The mouse hovers over the link for 10 seconds before you click. The page loads. 13 different vendors. Each one has a name, a star rating, a price range, and a last active timestamp. Some were online 6 minutes ago. You're reading advertisements for murder written in the same tone as furniture assembly instructions. Professional, discreet, worldwide service available, escrow accepted. You close the browser. You don't delete your history because Tor doesn't keep one. You sit there staring at your desk for 5 minutes. Then you open it again. This time, you read more carefully. You're taking notes. You tell yourself you're researching, documenting. Maybe you'll write an article. Maybe you'll report this to someone. You're lying to yourself, and you know it. You have a name in your head, someone who ruined your life, someone who deserves it. You're not going to do anything. Not yet. You're just looking at options. That's different from planning. That's different from deciding. One of the listings catches your eye. 5-star rating. 300 completed orders. The profile says 15 years experience. Former military, no jobs in home country. There's a contact button. You don't click it. Not today. Level 2, the inquiry. You're back Dre days later. You told yourself you wouldn't comment back, but you're here. The same vendor, the 5-star one. You click the contact button, an encrypted messaging window opens. Instructions at the top. Use PGP encryption. Provide target details, include location and timeline. Payment in Monero only. You don't know what PGP is. You don't know what Monero is. You spend 2 hours on YouTube learning. You download Cleopatra. You generate a key pair. The tutorial explains that this encryption is military grade, unbreakable by any government agency. You're learning operational security from a teenager with a voice filter. You compose the message, you write it like you're ordering a pizza. Target name, city, general location. You don't have an address, you explain the situation in 2 paragraphs. You try to make it sound justified. He's a bad person, he hurt people. The vendor doesn't care about your justification. You realize this halfway through typing and delete for sentences. You encrypt the message with the vendor's public key. The text turns into a block of nonsense characters. You hit send. The message disappears into the dark. You close the laptop. Your hands are shaking. You just sent a murder inquiry to someone. The weight of it sits in your stomach like a stone. The response comes 6 hours later. You're at work when you check. You shouldn't be checking at work, but you can't focus on anything else. The message is short, professional. Location confirmed. Timeline 2 to 3 weeks. Price $12,000 in XMR, half upfront, half on confirmation. No refunds. Respond within 48 hours or inquiry expires. $12,000. You have $9,000 in savings. You'd need to sell some things. Take a loan. You're doing the math. You're actually calculating whether you can afford to have someone killed. This is who you are now. You don't respond. Not yet. You have 47 hours left to decide. Level 3, the payment. You're setting up a Monero wallet. It's 2 a.m. You couldn't sleep. The 48-hour window closes in 9 hours. You told yourself you'd let it expire. You're not letting it expire. Buying Monero is harder than buying Bitcoin. You can't just use Coinbase. You need to go through exchanges that don't ask questions. Local Monero. A peer-to-peer marketplace. You find a seller who accepts bank transfer. No ID required. You send $6,000. The Monero appears in your wallet 3 hours later. 42.7 XMR. The transaction is untraceable. That's the point. That's why hitmen accept it. You compose the response. You include your wallet address. You ask about proof. How will you know it's done? The vendor replies within minutes. Photo within 24 hours of completion. Time-stamped newspaper and frame. Additional $500 for video. Terms non-negotiable. You're negotiating the price of a murder like you're haggling for a used car. You ask if $11,000 total is possible. The vendor's response is one word: no. You accept the terms. You send half the payment, 21.35 XMR, $6,000 vanishing into an anonymous wallet somewhere in the world. The vendor confirms receipt, sends a new message. Target surveillance begins in 72 hours. Do not contact until completion. Do not discuss with anyone. Do not leave digital trail. If target is warned, contract is void, no refund. You're reading instructions on how not to accidentally save the person you're trying to kill. You clear your browser data. You remove the Tor browser from your recent apps. You delete the YouTube tutorials from your watch history. You're learning to be a criminal in real time. You go to work the next day. You sit in meetings. You smile at coworkers. You eat lunch. No one knows you paid $6,000 to have someone killed last night. You're a different person now. The old version of you would be horrified. The old version of you died somewhere around level 2. Level 4, the wait. 13 days pass. You check the encrypted messages twice a day. Nothing. The vendor said 2 to 3 weeks. You're counting hours. You're checking news sites from the target city every morning. No unusual deaths reported, no accidents, nothing. You can't focus on anything. You're making mistakes at work. You snapped at your partner over nothing. They ask what's wrong. You say work stress. You're lying to everyone now. The secret is a weight you carry in your chest. You wake up at 3 a.m. and can't fall back asleep. You lie there thinking about what you've done, what you're waiting for. Day 16. You break protocol. You send a message asking for an update. The vendor responds 8 hours later. Target under observation. Timeline extended due to security complexity. Expect completion within 5 days. Do not contact again. Security complexity. That means the target is being careful, or has protection, or lives in a hard-to-access location. You didn't think about this. You assumed murder was straightforward. Point, shoot, done. But it's a job like any other. Variables, obstacles, professional problems requiring professional solutions. You're walking through a grocery store on day 19. You're in the produce section picking up tomatoes when it hits you. Someone is watching your target right now, following their routine, learning their patterns, planning the moment. While you're buying vegetables, someone on the other side of the world is preparing to end a life because you paid them. You leave the tomatoes. You walk out of the store without buying anything. You sit in your car in the parking lot for 20 minutes. Your hands grip the steering wheel. You could stop this. You could send a message, tell them to abort, lose the 6,000, but save a life. You don't send the message. Day 22, you check your phone at lunch. New message, your hands shake, opening it. Completion confirmed. Payment 2 required for proof. 24-hour window. You send the remaining $6,000 from a coffee shop bathroom. You're leaning against the sink, phone in hand, authorizing a murder payment between sips of a latte. The transaction confirms. 3 minutes later, an image file arrives, encrypted. You download it. You don't open it. Not here. Not yet. You wait until you're home, alone. You decrypt the file. The image loads, and there it is. Level 5, the proof. The photo is exactly what was promised. The target, on the ground, eyes open but not seeing. A newspaper from yesterday's date held in frame. The timestamp is visible, 21:47 local time. Last night, while you were watching television, you stare at the image for 3 minutes. You're looking for signs that it's fake. Photoshop artifacts, staging. There's blood. Not a lot. Professionals are efficient. The location is nondescript. Concrete floor. Could be a garage, could be a warehouse. You'll never know which. You close the file, delete it, run a 7-pass wipe on the drive space. You're covering your tracks without thinking about it now. The operational security is automatic. You become someone who knows how to hide evidence of murder. You check the news the next morning, there it is. Local man found dead, police investigating, no suspects, no clear motive. The article is 6 paragraphs. The target's life reduced to a brief description of their job, their age, their survivors. You read it 3 times. So you're looking for any mention of foul play. The word used is suspicious circumstances. That's all. The investigation will go nowhere. You know this because the vendor told you. In the final message before they close the contact window, local police closed 34% of homicides, stranger killings, 11%, professional work, 3%. You're safe. You're safe. Those 2 words should comfort you. They don't. You're safe because you paid someone to make it untraceable. You're safe because you used the right encryption, the right cryptocurrency, the right operational security. You're safe because you planned a murder correctly. You go back to work, to your life. No one knows. Your partner doesn't know. Your friends don't know. You're at a birthday party 3 days later, eating cake, laughing at jokes, and you're the only person in the room who's killed someone. That's what you are now. You didn't pull the trigger, but you signed the contract. The distinction feels meaningless. Some people at this level stop, one and done. They got what they wanted. The problem is solved. They never go back to that browser, that forum, those vendors, but you're reading this, which means you already know there's something about having this power that changes you. You solved an impossible problem with money and patience. The world feels different when you know what's possible. Level 6, the repeat client. You're back in the browser 9 months later. Different vendor this time. The 5-star one disappeared. Profile deleted, maybe retired, maybe arrested, maybe dead. The dark web is Darwinian. Only the careful survive. This vendor has a different specialty. Accidents. The listings are specific. Car crashes, home invasions gone wrong. Drug overdoses, suicides, each one costs more because the investigation risk is lower. A murder that looks like bad luck closes faster than an execution. You're browsing services like you're shopping on Amazon, comparing prices, reading reviews. One client wrote, "Made it look exactly like what we discussed. Family had no questions, 5 stars." Another, "Quick turnaround, minimal mess, would use again." Would use again. That's you now. The second time is easier than the first. The moral calculus is already done. You crossed the line 9 months ago. This is just stepping over it again. And this target deserves it more than the last one. You tell yourself that. You need to believe there's still a standard. The inquiry process is faster this time. You know the protocols. You have the wallet already set up. The encryption is second nature. You provide more detail than last time. The target's schedule, their medications, their documented health problems. You're helping plan the method. You're an active participant. This vendor asks questions, wants to know the reason, not for moral judgment, for operational security. Personal vendetta jobs are safer than financial ones. Fewer investigators if there's no money trail. You explain the situation. Keep it brief. The vendor accepts, sends a price, $15,000, timeline, 3 to 4 weeks, method, cardiac event during sleep, undetectable. That word costs an extra $3,000. You pay it. The first job taught you that clean costs more, but it's worth it. You send half up front. The waiting begins again, but this time you're calm. You know how this works. You trust the process. Completion takes 19 days. The proof photo shows someone who looks asleep. Peaceful. The news reports a tragic heart attack. No autopsy because of their medical history. The family is devastated, but unsurprised. You attend the funeral. You hug the widow. You say you're so sorry. You're looking her in the eyes while remembering the encrypted photo of her dead husband. You're someone who goes to the funerals now. That's the level you're on. Level 7, the broker. You get a message from someone you don't know. Encrypted. Proper protocols. They found you through a mutual contact. They're not saying who. They need what you have: experience, connections, knowledge of how this works. They're willing to pay for consultation. You're being recruited as a middleman, a broker, someone who knows which vendors are reliable, which specialties they offer, which prices are fair, which methods work. You've done two jobs. Somehow that makes you an expert in someone else's eyes. Like, the dark web is efficient like that. Competence is rare enough to be valuable. The consultation fee is $2,000 just for information. You talk them through the process, how to secure their communications, which vendors to trust, how to verify completion. You're teaching someone to do what you did. You're a murder consultant. You laugh when that phrase enters your head. It's either laugh or scream. They complete their job, they come back. They have a friend who needs the same service. They offer you $1,500 to make the introduction, to vouch for them with the vendor. Your word has value now. You're building a reputation in a marketplace that doesn't exist on any map. You make 3 more introductions that year. $4,500 total. You're not pulling triggers. You're not planning hits. You're just connecting people, facilitating. That's the word you use when you think about it. Facilitating. So like you're in business development for death. One of your referrals ghosts after sending payment, disappears, no completion, no refund, no proof. The vendor says the target was warned. Internal leak. The client is out $18,000. They message you angry, threatening. You block them. You sleep fine that night. There are no courts here, no arbitration, just consequences and the people willing to accept them. You meet another broker through the network. They've been doing this for 5 years, 30 successful referrals. They treat it like any other side business. They have a spreadsheet. Categories, conversion rates, client satisfaction scores. They show you their system. You're impressed by the professionalism. Yeah, you're having a business networking conversation about contract killing. They explain the economics. Vendors pay 10% for qualified leads. Clients pay 15% for vetting and introduction. You take both ends if you're smart about it. A $20,000 job nets you $5,000 for 4 hours of work. Tax-free. Untraceable. You're doing the math in your head. You could make 6 figures doing this. You won't, but you could. Remember when you were just curious? When you were just browsing? That was 8 levels ago. Level 8, the professional. You're talking to someone who does the actual work, not through messages in person, a city you've never been to, a cafe table outside. They look normal. Mid-40s, wedding ring, they show you photos of their kids on their phone between bites of a sandwich. Then they show you photos from their last job. They're explaining the craft, how it's changed, how surveillance technology makes traditional methods harder, how social media creates both opportunities and risks. Targets post their locations, their schedules, their security systems, but those posts are time-stamped evidence, digital breadcrumbs leading back. Modern professionals use dead drops, cryptocurrency wallets that auto-mix funds through 16-layered transactions, encrypted phones that wipe after 3 failed login attempts. They travel constantly, never from home country to target country directly. Always through 2 neutral nations, always cash purchases for anything physical. They explain their rate structure. Urban, $15,000 to $25,000 depending on security level. Rural, $10,000 to $18,000. Political figures, $75,000 minimum. High profile business, $100,000 plus. Celebrities, $500,000 starting price due to investigation intensity. Children, they don't do children. Everyone has a line. That's theirs. You ask how they got into this. Military, they say. Everyone starts military or cartel. Those are the 2 schools. Military teaches precision. Cartel teaches volume. They were military sniper, 8 confirmed in Afghanistan. 19 unconfirmed, came home to nothing. No job prospects, PTSD, and a skill set with 1 civilian application. Their first private job was a favor for a friend. Didn't charge, just helped. Then the friend had another friend. That one paid. Then a referral network emerged. They were good at something rare, supply and demand, market forces. They talk about murder, the way an accountant talks about tax strategy. They explain the psychology, how it gets easier. The first one haunts you. The second one you rationalize. By the fifth, it's just work. Clock in, do the job, clock out, go home to your kids' soccer games. They've done 38. They remember each one's face, but they stopped feeling guilt after 11. That's when it stops being people and starts being targets. That shift is necessary. Without it, you break. They ask if you've ever considered field work. The money's better than brokering. They could teach you. Start you on low-risk rural jobs, build your skills. You'd be working for them at first, but eventually you'd branch out. They're recruiting, looking for reliable people. The talent pool is small and the demand is constant. You decline. You're not ready for that. And maybe you never will be. You're shaking their hand and walking away and realizing you just turned down a murder apprenticeship like it was a job offer at a startup. Level 9, the coordinator. You're managing 5 vendors and 12 clients. You have a system now. Encrypted project management software, timelines, milestones, risk assessments. You're running a murder logistics operation from your laptop in a Starbucks at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. One client needs a disappearance, not a death, a vanishing. Target needs to be gone, but not confirmed dead. Insurance complications, inheritance timing. You know a vendor in Southeast Asia who specializes. The target gets drugged, transported, dumped in jungle territory with no ID. Survival rate is roughly 15%. Client pays $35,000. Vendor gets $28,000. You net $7,000. The target's chances are better than a bullet, but worse than a fair trial. Another job is corporate. Executive at a pharmaceutical company. Client is a rival firm. The target is blocking a merger. His death clears regulatory obstacles worth $200 million. The client pays $150,000. You coordinate 3 vendors, surveillance, planning, execution. Each gets $40,000. You keep $30,000. The execution is clean. Car accident on a mountain road. No witnesses, no questions. The merger completes 4 months later. You watch the press release. The CEO thanks the board for their patience during difficult times. You're calculating return on investment for murder. You're building vendor relationships. 1 operative in Eastern Europe, 1 in South America, 2 in Southeast Asia, 1 in Africa. Global coverage, competitive rates. You're providing customer service for contract killing. A client complains about turnaround time. You offer a 10% discount on their next job. You have repeat customers. You have client retention strategies. 1 job goes wrong. Target survives, hospitalized with critical injuries. Vendor wants to finish it. Client wants a refund. You're mediating a dispute about an attempted murder like you're handling a warranty claim. You negotiate. Vendor refunds half, waits 30 days, completes the job. When target is released from hospital, everyone agrees. The target dies 6 weeks later. Hospital infection. Untraceable. The vendor claims credit anyway. You let them. Professional courtesy. You're invited to an encrypted forum. Invitation only. Vendors and high-level brokers. The discussion is professional development, new techniques, law enforcement patterns, technology updates. Someone presents on police AI that scans social media for contract indicators. Another discusses cryptocurrency mixing services that survived recent regulations. You're taking notes, asking questions, networking. A vendor at level 8 shows you photos of their family again. Their daughter graduated college last month, top of her class. They paid her tuition with money from 17 jobs last year. You congratulate them. You mean it. You're proud of a murderer for being a good parent. Your moral framework is completely inverted now. You have $340,000 in cryptocurrency across 6 wallets. You can't spend it, can't invest it, can't explain it. So it sits there. Digital blood money. You buy a new car with cash. Tell people you saved up. They believe you. Why wouldn't they? You're normal. You have a job, an apartment, a partner who still doesn't know. You're living 2 lives, and the secret is the only thing that feels real anymore. You think about stopping, cashing out, disappearing, but there's always another client, another job, another payday, and you're good at this. You found something you're genuinely skilled at. It just happens to be facilitating murder for profit. Everything comes with a cost. Level 10, the exit. You're being investigated. You don't know this yet. An FBI task force has been tracking cryptocurrency flows from 15 unsolved homicides. They found a pattern. Wallets that connect through mixing services to a cluster of addresses. One of those addresses is yours. They've been watching for 6 months. You get a message from a vendor. They were arrested in Prague, extradition pending. They kept records. Encrypted, but they're offering cooperation for reduced sentencing. Your username is in those records. 17 transactions. You have maybe 3 weeks before they decrypt everything and connect it to your real identity. You start the exit protocol you planned but hoped never to use. You wipe every device. 7-pass military-grade wipe on all drives. You smash the hard drives with a hammer. You burn the pieces. You close every crypto wallet. Send the funds through 12 mixing services to an untraceable address you'll never access again. $340,000 vanishing into the digital void. You're erasing yourself. You tell your partner you need to leave. You don't explain. You can't. They demand answers. You pack a bag. You say you're sorry. You mean it. They're crying, asking what they did wrong. Nothing. They did nothing. This is all you. Every choice, every consequence. You walk out. You'll never see them again. You cross 3 borders in 4 days, cash only. No phones, no cards, no digital footprint. You're in a country with no extradition treaty. You're using a fake passport that costs $15,000 from a vendor you used to coordinate for. The irony isn't lost on you. The network you built is the only thing saving you now. You're in a small apartment, single room, no furniture except a mattress and a table, no internet, no phone. You pay rent in cash 3 months at a time. The landlord doesn't ask questions. You're one of 12 people in this building running from something. No one makes eye contact in the hallway. You monitor the news on a library computer. The out vendor got 30 years, cooperated fully. FBI press release announces arrests in connection with dark web murder marketplace. 12 people charged. Your old username is mentioned, but not your real name. Not yet. They're still building the case. You have time. Maybe. Yeah. You think about the people, the targets, the ones you helped kill. You can remember their faces from the proof photos. 17 faces. Some you justified, some you rationalized, some you just processed as transactions. They're all dead because you connected someone willing to pay with someone willing to kill. The broker's percentage, that's what you told yourself. Just the middleman, just facilitating. You're sitting alone in a room in a city where you don't speak the language and no one knows your name. The money's gone, the network's collapsed, the life you built is evidence in a federal investigation. You have nothing except the knowledge that you got away with it. 17 murders and you're free. The word tastes wrong in your mouth. You see someone at an internet cafe 3 weeks later, young, nervous. We're opening Tor browser for the first time. You recognize the body language, the curiosity, the fear. They're searching for something. You know exactly what. You could warn them. Tell them how this ends. Explain that the path starts with just looking and ends with exile or prison or worse. You could save them from becoming what you became. You watch them type, their search query loads, dark web forms, services, contracts. You close your laptop, you walk out. They'll figure it out themselves, just like you did. The cycle repeats. It always does. Someone's always curious. Someone's always angry enough. Someone's always desperate enough to pay. And someone's always willing to do the work. You download Tor 3 years ago, just looking, just curious. Now you're here.